Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin history is repeating again, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And on top of that, Bitcoin is now retesting a critical level on the chart, while Ethereum is now bouncing from important short-term support. So I'll be talking about all of that and more in this video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just quickly talking about some Bitcoin ETF news today, because just yesterday, Grayscale sold another approximately 15,220 Bitcoin worth roughly around $600 million US. And I won't be going too much into detail about the Grayscale selling pressure in this video today, because I've done that basically every day over the last 1 to 2 weeks, pretty much ever since the spot Bitcoin ETFs actually got approved and began trading. But basically, all you need to know in case you're new to this channel is Grayscale is still holding a lot of Bitcoin. They're holding around 543,000 Bitcoin at the time of recording this video, worth nearly $22 billion US. And basically, a lot of Bitcoin's flowing out of Grayscale, causing selling pressure in the short term. And once again, if you want to know exactly why that's happening and why it's causing selling pressure, then watch my last few videos here on the channel. But basically, moving forward on weekdays when the US stock market is open, so when the Bitcoin ETFs are actually trading, I continue to expect this type of selling pressure from Grayscale moving forward. And so basically just on weekdays, Monday to Friday, I expect around 10 to 20,000 Bitcoin dumped on the market every day by Grayscale, worth a few $100 million US worth of selling pressure. But if this continues moving forward at the current rate of sell pressure, of course, Grayscale could run out of their Bitcoin holdings in roughly around a month from now. But as I also said in my last video, it's unlikely that they'll completely deplete their holdings to zero, so they'll likely change something before their holdings actually get to zero, which means perhaps in less than a month from now, perhaps in a couple of weeks from now, this selling pressure due to Grayscale will likely be over. And so just a reminder, in the short term, as in over the next few days, maybe over the next couple of weeks, we could still be expecting short-term selling pressure due to Grayscale, but that selling pressure is not going to last forever. And a lot of this Bitcoin that Grayscale is dumping on the market is actually ending up over at BlackRock in the BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF. And now BlackRock is not absorbing all of that sell pressure. Grayscale is selling more than what BlackRock's buying, but BlackRock is still buying a lot of Bitcoin at the moment, because as of right now, BlackRock is currently holding over 44,000 Bitcoin worth over $1.7 billion US, as you can see here on BlackRock's own website. Once again, they're holding 44k Bitcoin worth $1.7 billion US, and so BlackRock is continuing to buy more and more Bitcoin, even while Grayscale is dumping. And so once again, perhaps in a few weeks from now, when Grayscale's basically done selling, when we no longer have that massive sell pressure, we could still have a lot of buying pressure due to BlackRock. And obviously, BlackRock is just one major buyer in the market. There's plenty of other institutions managing spot Bitcoin ETFs, and also other institutions like MicroStrategy continuing to buy more and more Bitcoin. And so basically, I'm looking at this selling pressure from Grayscale as a temporary buying opportunity. It's temporarily lowering the price of Bitcoin, but once again, it will not last forever. But anyway, if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin charts, looking at the daily time frame, and over the last 1 day, we've actually seen pretty much a perfect bounce from this area of support, which I mentioned in my last video. And that area of support is sitting in between around 37.9k to around 38.4k. And as you can see right here on the chart, we saw a bounce pretty much exactly at that level of support at around 38.5k approximately. And so at least for now, that is the support to pay attention to on the daily time frame. Obviously, we can still bounce at these levels of support, but if we break below that first area of support, then the next area of support is sitting in between around 35.3k to 35.8k. And below that area of support, we also have more support right down here, sitting in between around 33.4k to 33.9k. And obviously, this bearish divergence is still playing out, which means I would not be expecting any significant bullish momentum in the short term. And instead, we're most likely going to see either choppy sideways price action or a continued pullback in the price of Bitcoin as the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. And obviously, if you're looking at the DXY on the daily time frame, we're still in this bounce to the upside. Obviously, over the last 1 day, we've actually seen a slight dip in the DXY, which coincides with a slight bounce in the price of Bitcoin. But overall, I'll be keeping an eye on this DXY because obviously if we continue trending to the upside here in the DXY, then that's likely going to result in some lower prices in the price of Bitcoin. And so as always, I'll keep you up to date on these important Bitcoin charts and the DXY. So make sure you subscribe to this channel with notifications turned on so that you don't miss out on any of these important update videos. And if you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button down below because it really helps out with these videos. But anyway, taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, and what we're seeing right now is actually a retest of this previous ascending line of support, which is currently acting as new resistance, and that line is sitting at around 40.4k to 40.5k. And so this is an important retest for the price of Bitcoin because if we see a rejection from that line right there, basically if we confirm it as resistance with a rejection, then that further confirms the break to the downside and would obviously be a bearish signal. But on the other hand, if we actually confirm daily candle closes back above around 40.5k, back above this line right here, then that could potentially invalidate the break to the downside. And so this is why this retest is important for the price of Bitcoin, at least in the somewhat shorter term, because it can really tell us where we might be heading next over the next few days or weeks. But once again, at least for now, overall in the short term, we're lacking bullish momentum. The RSI is trending to the downside, showing a weakness in the price. Obviously, we still have that bearish divergence playing out. And while the DXY is moving to the upside, once again, I would not be expecting significant bullish price action for Bitcoin or crypto. But as I've explained recently on the channel, obviously, this is just the shorter term trends. As we could see here on the daily time frame, we have these short term bullish and bearish trends. But overall, these short-term bullish and bearish trends have been occurring within a much larger bullish trend that has been the case since the beginning of 2023. And so essentially that much larger bullish trend visible on the weekly time frame, for example, is basically a bull market. And so essentially we're in a short-term correction or short-term bearish trend during a larger bull market. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour time frame right now, once again, we're retesting an important area of previous support, now acting as new resistance. And that area is sitting in between around 40.6k approximately, or 40,500, going up towards around 41k. And so basically, if we see a rejection from around 40,500 to 41k, anywhere in that price range right there, then once again, that would further confirm the break to the downside and would obviously be a short-term bearish signal. And I would only start to flip a little bit more bullish again in the short term if we start to see a confirmed breakout back above around 41,000. But obviously here on the 4-hour time frame, we can clearly see that at least for now, the trend is bearish. We're forming lower highs and lower lows on the smaller time frames like this 4-hour chart. And in fact, right now on the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, history is repeating because we are seeing a new bullish divergence playing out just in the imminent short term on the 2-hour time frame. And throughout this short-term bearish trend, this has already occurred twice. This is actually the third time this is happening during this same short-term bearish trend. And so as always, a bullish divergence does not always result in a trend reversal. In fact, they most commonly play out in the form of either choppy sideways price action, if not a slight bullish relief just in the short term. And so that's basically what's happening right now. Once again, we have an active bullish divergence on the 2-hour time frame playing out in the form of a slight bullish relief. And this could potentially last over the next 1 day or so, but considering it's only on the 2-hour time frame, I don't expect this to last very long. And perhaps when this begins fading away, obviously we could potentially continue that short-term bearish trend later on, as we've seen these previous times. And so that's basically the situation right now. In the imminent short term, we're seeing a slight bullish relief due to this pattern happening again, like we've seen back here and back here. But ultimately, this is occurring within a short-term bearish trend, which is occurring within a much larger bullish trend or a bull market. And if you want to trade these moves in the price of Bitcoin, whether you think we're going up or down, you can use longs or shorts to make money in either direction. And personally, I take those trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link to make a Bybit account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link to make a Bitflex account and deposit $100 worth of crypto and to make just one trade over on Bitflex, then you can get 10 USDT completely for free. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well get set up or ready to go on one of those exchanges using those links down below this video if you want to get those extra bonuses. And just taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, if you're looking at the last 3 months worth of price action, we can still see a lot of liquidity sitting closer towards around 34,000. And we also have some other levels of liquidity between now and then. So if you want to know more about this right here, then check out my last video here on the channel, because this chart right here on the 3-month time frame, looking at the last 3 months worth of price action, has not really changed all that much over the last 1 day. And so getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and right now the bearish divergence is still playing out, which means we should not be expecting any significant bullish momentum, at least in the short term. And once again, we're most likely going to see either choppy sideways price action, if not a pullback in the price of ETH, as the most likely scenarios. And on top of the bearish divergence playing out, obviously if you're looking at the daily Ethereum MACD, this is still currently showing a lot of bearish momentum, as I've been warning about basically every day since all the way back up here. And so simply based on the MACD, this is actually telling us that we're likely going to see a little bit more short-term bearish price action moving forward. But obviously, we're just about running into this major area of support, which was previous resistance, and that area of support is sitting in between around 2.1k to 2150, and the price pretty much perfectly bounced just above that area of support over the last 1 day. But if you're zooming into the shorter term, we actually perfectly bounced from this area of support, which I mentioned in my last video, and this area of support is sitting in between around 2170 to around 2.2k. And obviously that area of support right there is based on previous support and is still currently supporting the price of ETH in the short term. And at the same time as the price running into that area, obviously the RSI on the 4-hour time frame entered into oversold territories, which technically means we have somewhat limited room to the downside. And so that's basically what's happening right now. Once again, we're bouncing from support while the RSI was in oversold territory. So we're resetting the RSI out of oversold territories, which can actually give us more room to the downside later on once we reset that RSI. And just like Bitcoin on the 2-hour time frame, if you're looking at the 2-hour ETH to US dollar chart, we also have a very small bullish divergence now playing out, because obviously we've confirmed lower lows in the price in the candle closes, while also confirming higher lows in the 2-hour Ethereum RSI. And so once again, what this means is just in the imminent short term, as in over the next 1 to 2 days or so, we're most likely going to see a little bit of a break, a little bit of a pause from that short-term bearish price action. So we're most likely going to see either choppy sideways price action or a slight bullish relief just in the imminent short term. But remember, this is only on the 2-hour time frame, so this is not a significant pattern. So I would not expect a significant move to play out from this pattern right here. And once again, on small time frames, they usually play out very fast. They don't play out very long. And so basically, we're helping to reset the RSI once again on the 4-hour time frame, which can potentially give us more room to the downside later on, considering as of right now, we're still technically within a short-term bearish trend. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana against the US dollar on the 4-hour time frame, obviously over the last 1 day, we've seen pretty much a perfect bounce from just above this Fibonacci level, which was sitting at around $77, and the price bounced from around $78. And obviously at the same time as the price running into that level of support, or bouncing just above that level of support, the RSI on the 4-hour time frame also entered into oversold territories, meaning we have limited room to the downside, at least in the short term, kind of like what we saw just here. But once again, these short-term bounces in the price could just help to reset the RSI back to the upside, which can give us more room to the downside later on. And so it's important to understand what trend we are in. Once again, on the smaller timeframes in the short term, like on the 4-hour chart, we're currently trending in the bearish direction. And obviously, during a bearish trend, we can see short-term pumps and short-term bullish price action here and there during a bearish trend. And as for support and resistance, we could now find a bit of short-term support around that golden pocket, sitting in between around $83.50 to $85.50. And below that, once again, we have support at around $77 to $78. And as for short-term resistance, in case this bounce continues further to the upside, then we should have some resistance at around $91 to $92. And above that, we have more resistance at around $99 to $100. But if you want to know how you can profit from crypto, no matter what direction the price is going, whether we're bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can make money in all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bullish or bearish using longs or shorts, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.